Hello friends, welcome back. In this video, we are going to learn about how to create a quiz Android app with the help of Jetpack Compose. So we are going to build a simple quiz application where at the runtime we will be providing a list of questions to the user. User will be presented the question one by one and user will attempt those, and after that the questions are ended, we will be showing the result to the user. Before jumping into development, let's first see what we are going to build as a part of this application. So here we are seeing the preview. This type of quiz application we are going to build, where we will be able to see a question here and 4 options here. So which are the following is after I can just click on any option here, click on just next question, correct answer, next question, and then I'll be having a show result text here. If I just click on this one, then yes, I get a congratulations message and you are passed. If I attempt again and show a wrong answers, select wrong answers, then I'll also have a failure screen which will be shown as follows: sorry, you have failed. And we can also attempt again the text. So this is, we can increase the number of questions. For this tutorial, to keep it short, I am going to use only 3 questions. So that's type of quiz we are going to build in this tutorial. Now jump into Android Studio and start implementing. Yes, so we are in an Android Studio project. Here I have created a new project, a practice activity. This is where we will be writing all of code inside this quiz in Compose theme. So before that, I have created a few things that already that I want to show. So this is the, as we will be showing a quiz, so we need a set of questions that I have already prepared our function for that one. That is a get questions. So this function will provide us a list of questions. So this is all the, currently I have added the 3 questions here. And here I have created a specific model for the question. So if I to click on this one, you can see this question model. In this I have created a data class. We'll have a question here which is of type string. Then we'll have options. So we'll be having the MCQs, multiple choice questions. So options will be multiple. We'll be keeping a 4 here, and this will be, so this will be a list of strings, and we'll need to know the correct answer index of the for the question. So we have this variable correct answer index, and it will be of type integer. So using this, I have declared 3 questions here, first, second, and third, along with the correct answer index, and the indexing, it starts from a 0. So that's the only thing I have done, and the later thing we will be doing together. So first of all, we need a few variables as well here. So let's say we are going to create a 2 separate composable for this one to show on the screen. First one is a quiz screen, second one is a result screen to display a result. So we need one flag to check if we are if we want to show the quiz screen or the result screen. So for that, I'll be creating one variable, that is a var is result displayed, and I'll be using here a compose state here, because we want to, as soon as we toggle this flag, we want to change the composable, and we want to let the composable know that this value has been changed and make a recomposition accordingly. That's why we need to take it as a composable state. So mutable state of, and I'll pass a false here. So let's import this set and get of the delegate. Yes. Another one is total score. We need to know total score, so that we should be able to figure out whether the student has passed or failed. While total score equal to, so I have created a simple logic, 1 point for each of question to make the things simple and clear. So what I'll do, I'll call this get questions dot size. So whatever the size of the questions, 1 point for each question, that will be a total score. And finally the score which is actually gained by the user while attempting the quiz, so it will be 0 initially. Yeah, we don't need this as a state. We can also make it as a value. Okay, so these things we need for the other composable function. That's why I have declared it as a global variables. And in the on create, we of course want to use the scaffold here. modifier equal to modifier dot fill max size, and then I'll be using a box here with a modifier equal to modifier dot fill max size plus we also need a padding, and here scaffold gives us an inner padding, that's why, and we'll be using that here, inner padding. Okay, and inside this box we'll be using a condition of the is result displayed. If result is not displayed, then we need to show a need to call a with screen, else we'll be going to call a result screen. Okay, so for now I am commenting out this result screen, and we are going to build this with screen. So let's build it inside the same class, composable function with screen. Okay, and I'll make it preview background as a not background color, show background equal to true, so that we will be able to see the background here, sorry, not background, uh, preview here as soon as we will be adding a few composable functions here. So in this quiz screen, again we need some variables at starting. So first of all is a where questions list. So this questions list will be by remember. Sorry, no, we don't need a by. We can just use a equal to remember and get questions. Get questions. Okay. So this get questions returns us a list of questions, and that's we are taking it in a one simple variable. It's fine if even if we don't use this remember here, but if we use the remember here, it will be a performance optimization, because this composable function will be recomposed several times, and this and at every time this composable function recomposes, we don't want to call this get questions function, because going further we might be using a database here or an API call here, so that, and which is not needed once we have loaded all the questions here. So remember will help us to do that, that's why we are using a remember here. So second thing we need, that is a current question index. Current question index, we need to know what the question currently is going on, so that's why we need the current question index by remember. It will be a mutable int state of will be 0, because current question index will be a 0. Then we can keep it as a val, and we need this as no we need this as a var, and we can use this as a val, and we'll again use a current question. So this is the index of the current question, and this is the actual current question model. So it's very simple. In the questions list, the current question index represent the current question, so we'll get a current question model. So you can see here we are getting a question model of the current question, so we can retrieve question and options from it. And this doesn't need to be a state. And the last thing we need, it is a where selected option index. So as soon as user click on any of one of the radio button, then we'll set that index to this variable, so that we should be able to compare and increment the score accordingly. We'll be doing that later. Select option index by remember. It is also a mutable in state of, and we'll be using a -1 here as a default value. If that's a -1, none of the option is selected. So yeah, that's what we have here, and now we'll start actually designing. So what we need for design, we first need a text composable for the question. So let's use the text. Yeah, text is we have a current question dot question. We have in the model here, if as we are referring a current question, we are referring to the question. We have a question model, and in that this is a question that we want to show, and that's why we are using this current question dot question. Yeah, and I want to style it, so I'll use the inbuilt material theme dot typography dot uh, title large. Yes, I need a column here because we will be needing a multiple composables here one by one. So I'll first get a column here. Modifier equal to modifier dot fill max size. Yes, and I'll cut and paste it here. Yes, you can see the view is getting generated here. Yes, and we'll also apply padding of 10 dp from all sides. After text, we want to show the options, multiple options. So that we'll be using a loop for that, because there are four options. We are currently making a four options, but there can be a five or six option or three options maybe. So we'll be using it. It only makes sense to use a loop for that. So what I'll do, I'll use again the current question dot options. We have these options here in the question model options, that will be a list of string, and that's why we'll be using loop here. For each index we get an index, and instead of string we'll use an option here because that is the option. So yes, and now we want to show on the radio button, and in front of that we want to show a option name. So we need a row for this task, because this arrangement will be a horizontal. Row will again contain a modifier equal to modifier dot fill max width. Again fill max width, then dot yeah, that's fine. I'll use a vertical alignment here, alignment dot center. This is not the right one. Alignment, no, yeah, this one, alignment dot center vertically, so that all the things should be in a same length. Yeah, now I'll use a radio button here, radio button. So this needs two things. One is on click, and second one is the selected, if it is selected or not. So if it is selected or not, there is a very simple logic. If the index we are getting from here is equal to the selected option index, if that's the case, then it's going to return a true, and if that's not the case, it's going to return a false. On click of that, what we are going to do, if once user clicks on the radio button, what we'll do, in this selected option index variable we will be storing this current index whatever we are getting from here. And in order to check for the selected, we are going to compare this selected option index, if it is selected option index and the current index, if it is equal. If it is equal, then it will show a selected check, selected button, or otherwise it will not show, it will show unselected. So that's about radio button. We will be using a spacer here for a small space between the radio button and the text. Modifier dot not height width, let's say 2 dp, and we are going a use a text composable again here. So text will be a simple option we are getting from here. And again style, style, I'm again using the same material theme, dot typography dot body large. Yeah, you can see it is appearing here. Okay, now we have this thing. Let me give you the spacer here as well, so that we should have a spacing height of, let's say, 8 dp. Yeah, and after options, here this column, we want a button for to switch to the, after we click select an option, we want to go to the next question. So we want to include a button here. Let's include a button here on click and the button. So in the on click, what we need here on the button, we need a text composable stating that next question, but we want to show a next question until the last question, and at the last question we want this button to show a text as a show result. So this text assignment will be a conditional. So what condition will do we need? If current question index is less than questions list dot size minus 1. If this is the case, that is, if it is, this condition signifies that we are not currently at the last question. We want to show a next question, and if that's not the case, then we want to return a show result. Yeah, it automatically took the title from here and applied it automatically. Next question. So yeah, we can use a modifier and fill that button to the max available size. But yeah, let's do that. Modifier equal to modifier dot fill max width, and it will fill the whole width. Okay, and I am again using the spacer here to keep a space between these options and the button. Let's take it as a 10 dp. Okay, so we, and on click of that, what we should do, so first thing we need to check if that's a correct answer. So we want a one, we want to check if it is a correct answer. So how we can check that? It's a very simple. We have a current question, so we can just use a current question dot and correct answer index. In this question model, you can see we have an index of the current correct answer. So we are going to compare that with whatever the option is selected by the user, selected option index. We already know that once user clicks on this one, then we are simply assigning this current index to this selected option index, and now we have the selected option index. After that, we are just comparing this if the selected option index is equal to the correct answer index in for the correct question. If that's correct, then simply increment the score plus plus. Okay, this is first condition. Second condition, we are going to use the same condition. That means if this is not the last question, then we want to increment the current question index. Now if we are at the question 0 index, index 0, we want to show a next question, then that's why we are incrementing this current question index. That's thing. And we want to make this selected option index as a -1 again. We are going to reset this selected option index, because for the next question also we want to know out of these four which one the user has clicked, and then accordingly we will be calculating the score. After calculating the score, we don't need this selected option and index for current question. That's why we are resetting it after going to the next question. While going to the next question, and if this not the case, this is the last question, then we simply want to show the result screen. If we are at the if we come in the else case, that means we are at the last question, and for the last question we want to just show the next screen as the result screen. So we have already put a condition here. If the is result displayed becomes true, then we will be showing the result screen here. So result screen, and so we just need to toggle this flag, is result displayed. So is result displayed, uh, is a true. We are making it as a true, and as soon as it is made a true, then as it is a compose state, it will recompose this thing. It will check where it is used, and it will again trigger this if case, and this quiz screen will be hidden, and this result screen will be displayed. So I am uncommitting this result screen now, and we are going to create a composable function for this result screen. So let's create it. Result screen. Okay. So in the result screen, we first want to create a one variable, each passed. So we want to show a result accordingly if the user is passed or failed. So if it is a passed, then we will be showing a congratulation text. If it is failed, we will be showing something like a sorry text. So if it is passed, how we can figure out that? So I am just using criteria. If the 50% passing, if the score is greater than or equal to 50% of the total score, then we consider the user as a passed, otherwise a failed. So we'll check if the score is greater than or equal to total score into 0.5, means 50 divided by 100, total 50% of total score. If the score gained by the user is greater than or equal to 50% of the total score, then we consider it as a passed, otherwise a fail. We'll use a val for this one. Okay, now we are free to create a layout for this. So let's create this. Let's first take a no. Let's take a column here. Again, this needs a modifier equal to modifier dot fill max size. We are again going to apply padding of 10 dp from all sides, and we want this all these things in a center. So we'll be using both horizontal and vertical things for this. Vertical arrangement dot center, and horizontal alignment dot center horizontally. Okay, now all the contents will come in a horizontal. Now you can see a separate compose screen is preview is getting displayed for the result. I'll make it a show background as a true here. So I'll first create a text composable here. So text equal to if is passed, then we'll show this emoji, and else we'll show this sad face. Okay, yeah, we can do that in compose, and that doesn't get bothered. And we'll be using a style as a, again, no style needed for this one. We need a font size, and I'll use as a 50 sp for this. Then I'm going to use the spacer here, modifier dot height of 8 dp, Then I again need the text composable and spacer here. Text, if it is passed, then we will write congratulations, otherwise we will write sorry. And instead of font size, we will directly use the style here. Style material theme dot typography dot headline large, because we want this to be a large. Yes. After we'll give a space, and again we want to use the text composable saying you are passed, else you have failed. Okay, and here in the headline large, instead we will use a body large. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is how the layout will be displayed. After that, we have all this conditional result screen. If we are at now we are at this point, and if we want to allow user to take the to attempt the test again, then what we need a simple button here. Let's make a button here, on clicking on which user should be able to take the test again. On click, and after clicking on that, what we need to do, we want to again reset this class is result displayed equal to false, so that the composition will decompose and the quiz screen will be again displayed, and this result screen will be hidden. Another thing is we need to reset the score to 0, and selected option index, that's fine even if we don't reset that. And yeah, that's the thing we need to do. And here we'll use a text composable attempt again. Yes, so that's how. Let me put another spacer here and make it as a 10 dp. Okay, so that's how we are going to display all this quiz, and that's how we are going to design this quiz application. Now let's run our application and see how it works. Yes, our app is now running, and we can, which of the following is the software? Of course, MS Word, the software. And I can click on next question. Yes, next question is coming. What does RAM stands for? Random access memory. And next question, what does BIOS stand for? Basic input output system. I already know the answers. So, and you can see the text has been converted to the show result. If I click on the show result, then yes, we are seeing the congratulations, you are passed. And if I click on attempt again, then it returns me back to the quiz screen. Now I'll give a wrong answers in order to see the failed scenario. Show result. Yes, we can see sorry you have failed and attempt again. So that's how we are going to build this simple quiz application in a Compose with the help of state management. Yes, so that's it about this tutorial. I hope now you have an understanding about how the things are working. If you still have some doubts or have some queries, or you are not able to implement that in your project, getting some issues, you can reach out to me. You can put your questions in the comments box below, and I will try my best to answer those. Alternatively, if you want a faster resolution and take opinion of other similar like-minded developers, then you can join a WhatsApp group of Ashish Mobile Dev, where other developers are also present there, and they are willing to help each other. You can be a part of that group and become a group learner. If you are a complete beginner in Android development, I want to become an app developer just like me, then you should definitely check out my course, which will teach you how to become Android app developer from scratch in a time span of just 30 days with customized exercises and review from me or my teammates. If you like this video, then please click on like, share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you will be notified whenever a new video is published. We will meet in the next tutorial with some another interesting topic. Till then, goodbye. Happy coding.